Invisibility is a byproduct of inattention. If you have been feeling invisible at work, chances are it's because one or more of your senior executives, the ones you want to be visible in front of, have not been paying through the currency of their attention to the work that you do or the ideas that you share. So in this video, what I want to share with you is a 6-part framework on how you become more visible to your executives or the individuals that you want to be visible in front of. This framework spells out the word growth, and the first part of the framework is G. And G is to give credit to others. So you might be thinking, well, that's counterintuitive. If I want to be visible at work, why do I need to give credit to other people? I feel like there's not enough credit given to me. So here's the rationale behind it. You want certain members of your organization, chances are in the senior level of the organization, to give attention to you. The currency that they're paying is the currency of their attention. And if you really think about the essence of human behavior, when people pay attention to something, it's because it's higher in their values. They have a higher priority in it, so they pay more attention. And Zig Ziglar said it best, you can have anything that you want in life if you first give others what they want in theirs. So if you understand who are the individuals that I want to be visible in front of, there's got to be somebody. There's got to be someone you could put a name to. It can't be everybody, because as soon as you try to be visible in front of everybody, you will become visible in front of nobody. So identify who do you want to be visible in front of, and what do they value most? What is their top priority? And if you communicate in terms of their top priorities, sometimes, and maybe oftentimes, it means that the focus is not entirely on you. The focus is not centered on you because you're creating a fair exchange, especially if you manage teams that do some work on your behalf. So when you develop the confidence and the self-worth to be able to give credit to others because you have developed them into becoming great leaders, you've developed them into understanding and taking responsibility for their role, and you give credit to others, you're speaking in the language of those senior executives you want to be visible in front of, and they can see you for the leader that you are. They can see the contributions you've made to the people in their organization. And this is key. So that is the first part of the framework, give credit to others. Second part of the framework of growth is R, and R stands for reach out to influencers. Who are the influencers in your organization? The individuals who have key decision-making authority, or the ones that have some sort of impression or some sort of an influence on your career trajectory? Chances are those are the individuals you want to be in front of. You want their visibility, you want their attention. It's important to identify who they are, not necessarily by the org chart, but more so by the hidden org chart on how things are really done in the company. So who are these individuals? Reach out to them and be able to understand these individuals at a deeper level. What drives them? What are their core values? What are their priorities? Why do they do what they do? Why do they respond the way they respond? Understand them a little bit deeper. And as you reach out to these influencers, the goal is to build meaningful and equitable relationships with them. It's not about how can I get what I want from them? How can I leverage their authority? It's not about that. Let's not make it one-sided here. Let's create a fair exchange. It's only when there is fair exchange in a relationship can that relationship be meaningful and equitable. And when you approach relationships that way with these influencers, that's when you can be their equals. So that is why the second part of the framework is to reach out to these influencers. The third part of the framework is the letter O, which stands for operate from your highest value. Now, I mentioned that the senior executives you want to be visible in front of, I mentioned that they have priorities. I mentioned that they have a hierarchy of values and core values. Well, on the flip side, so do you. Do you understand who you are? Do you know what's important to you? Do you know what your key priorities are? Do you know the hierarchy of your values? So when you understand that from a very deep level, when you know yourself, this is where it is really important to structure your days, structure your role, set your goals, and carve your trajectory in accordance to what you value most. And that way you can live day to day and operate in your work and operate in your personal life as well and being able to take on and focus on those activities that are highest on your values. Because the flip side is also true that I said about the senior executives. When you are working in your highest values, you also pay more attention. You also feel more fulfilled. You're also very grateful for that, and you're feeling very inspired. When you're operating your highest values, this is where you're more intrinsically motivated. You don't procrastinate on it. And this is where you are your best self. So that's why this is really important. When you're your best self, when you're intrinsically motivated, and when you're paying attention and you have your highest attention, your executives take notice. Because this is your whole self, your true, authentic self. So this is the letter O, to operate on your highest value. Building and advancing your career and carving out your career trajectory is an important professional mission. But I submit to you that this professional mission that you're on is also the most important personal growth journey of your life. And if you recognize that how far you go in your career is a direct reflection on how far you grow in your person. And if you're serious about growing in your person and you're looking for some help with that, then I invite you to work with me and your team. And below this video, there is a link. The very first link is a chance for you to have a conversation with my trusted advisors. And on this call, we're going to talk about where you're at right now, where you see your biggest opportunities are, where you see your goals are as well. And if we're the right match to work together, then you're going to come and work personally with me, and you're going to be working personally with my team as well. And when we start working together, I'm going to be your partner in your personal growth journey, developing not just the softer skills, but a deeper understanding of who you are. And this is important because, as Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, if you understand your enemy, you can win the war, but you lose the battle. But if you know thyself and you understand yourself as well as who you are fighting against or what you're fighting against, you win the whole war plus the battle. So how well do you know yourself? So if you work with me, we're going to be gaining that deep level of understanding and on that personal growth journey of your lifetime. So click the button below, and I look forward to working with you on the inside. The fourth part of my growth framework starts with the letter W, and W stands for work on continuous learning. Continuous learning is a misnomer. The internet and the information out there refers to continuous learning in terms of reading all the books, watching all the TED Talks, going to all the courses, and consuming as much information as you can. Have you ever noticed in your own life that the more information you consume, the more it is difficult to sort it all out? And sometimes it can be very confusing, and you still don't quite feel you're advancing the way that you want to advance. And the reason that happens is because information is not transformation. Information is exactly just that. It is information. And information alone is not powerful. How do you go from information to application to really applying what you know so that you can produce the outcomes that are meaningful and valuable in the marketplace and for the marketplace? So when I refer to continuous learning, I do not refer to continuous learning the same way other people refer to it. When I refer to continuous learning, what I refer to is the whole process of going from collecting and gathering information all the way to mastering what you know so that you can consistently and persistently apply it in your marketplace industry and you can succeed sustainably. What is the process? Are you familiar with the process? Are you engaging in that process of continuous learning? Are you truly understanding what you know and able to apply what you know? And the things that you're learning right now, in terms of the new skills you're learning right now, the new leadership skills perhaps, or the new subject areas that you're learning right now, are you learning them in the right methodology so that eventually you can really understand it to apply it? So that is the work on continuous learning that I'm talking about, to understand and really apply that process to learning. This process to learning is not what they teach you in the education system. The college education system does not teach this method of continuous learning. The way that they teach you how to learn is only to learn about the subject matter. You pass a test on it, the grade you get in your GPA tells you that you know the textbook material or the course content material really well. How well does that translate when you get out there and the nuances are all around you? the contextual features change from moment to moment. How well does that translate? If you struggle with that translation, then it is an interruption in the process of learning. So when I talk about work on the continuous learning, I'm referring to the process that comes after the collection of information. The fifth part of the growth framework is the letter T, and T stands for track your progress. When I do corporate training and when I work with clients in the corporate landscapes, oftentimes what I see is that performance reviews happen once, maybe twice a year. And this is the opportunity to report on progress during the performance review. Some companies have it a very formal process where you fill out a form. Some of them are not very formal at all, and you have 20 minutes to defend your progress in the past year, and then everything in between in terms of very structured and no structure at all. So what I say in this fifth part of the framework of track and report your progress is a communication cadence where you are reporting on your progress way more frequently than once or twice a year. And when I say way more frequently, I mean every week. How are you tracking your own progress? How well do you understand your metrics on a weekly basis? The KPIs that your company gives you, oftentimes it takes a whole quarter or multiple quarters to achieve those KPIs. If that's true, then those are lagging metrics. What you report on from week to week are your leading metrics. How well do you know what they are? How well can you communicate and articulate those? How well are you tracking those metrics? Do you have a process in place to track and to report those to your direct manager? When you install this process, you are better able to articulate your progress, and therefore you're better able to advocate for yourself. So by the time that performance review comes around in the next year or in the next 6 months, that your manager not just knows about your progress throughout this whole time, but it doesn't now all of a sudden become a huge defense, kind of like in the court where you have to defend everything and they kind of have to trust you on your word. So this step of the framework is one of the most important self-advocacy tools and also negotiation tools in your tool belt. So letter T is to track and report your progress. Now the sixth and the last step of the framework is the letter H. H stands for hone your expertise. Now remember earlier when I talked about W was to work on your continuous learning and H is to hone your expertise. They're not the same thing. Honing your expertise, what I'm referring to here is that you already have a body of knowledge. You already have expertise in a domain, maybe because your college degree was aligned with it. Maybe because you've had 10, 20, maybe 25, 30 years in that domain, so you have expertise. Maybe because you've had multiple experiences in your work history that hone that expertise. Sure. Now what I'm referring to by honing your expertise is extrapolating the principles that you've been proving all these years that have been shown to work. When you hone your expertise, you don't just have expertise that you know of. You have expertise that you can articulate out there so that people can interact with it. Because let's face it, have you ever experienced a situation where you know that you know a thing? You know that you know it, but for some reason, they don't know that you know it because you weren't able to communicate it well. Or when you tried to communicate it well, they weren't able to get it or truly understand the value of what you know. Have you ever had that struggle? So honing your expertise is the mental process for you to be able to hone your expertise in such a way that you can articulate it in frameworks and principles so that they can apply in the situations at hand. So this is the 6-part framework on how you can be visible in front of the higher-ups that you'd like to be visible in front of. One of the most important skills to be able to get buy-in after your visibility is to be able to pitch yourself. In the next video, I talk all about pitching yourself, even if you hate the process of selling. That video is coming right up next. I'll see you there.